Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel and the fun. In France, they probably say, le fun. In the last episode, we got the car back from sandblasting. Everything was bare metal, and after a week or so, there was some flash rust. So I cleaned that up and then primed everything. The sandblasting showed all of the flaws that are in the car, a couple that we didn't know about, and so it's a work in progress, but the sandblasting also marked the end of the deconstruction or tearing the car down. Now we start building back up. We started hanging the doors just to kind of get an idea of where everything is going to land. This door, the gaps look pretty good, so that will allow me to put the rocker on and the rear quarter, which is what I plan to do in this video. So a subscriber to the channel, local guy Joe Fisher, said in his previous research that the 88 to 91 repair panels for the hatchback, which are the only ones that are available, not the CRXs to my knowledge, are a different contour than the CRX. And I don't know that for sure. Looking at it, it's kind of hard to tell. I know people use the 88 to 91 hatchback because that's the only one that's available. Had to get a couple supplies that I did not have previously. Got a new flexible block sander. This is a body person's hammer, which is said to be good for doing dents and things like that, getting the dents out before you do the Bondo work or filler work. Some weld through primer. I did get the 023 MIG wire for the welder. This is a smaller wire that will help with these real thin panels and not burning through. And then I got these Clecos, which are really cool. Just when you think you have every tool you could ever need, you discover you don't. And it's a good thing that I found these Cleco deals, because what they'll do is you drill an 1/8" hole for this size into both of your panels. And then you use these grabber deals, pushes the pins in. It's kind of like a rivet that can be removed, and you can remove it over and over, and then you let it go. And now it holds the panel right where you're going to want it. Now I got quite a few of these, and it's a good thing I figured this out. This is how real bodywork people do it, because I probably would have taped the panel up there. For anybody new to the channel, this is my 88 CRX Si. I bought it about 9 months ago from a guy named Devin locally. It's an original Minnesota car, and it needs to be redone for sure. The goal with this one is to just make it a really mostly stock looking driver and just have a good time. It's been through some stuff from what the story tells, but nothing we can't take care of. I bought this car for $400, and we've just been using it to make content and have fun and play CRX things in the garage. I do have the suspension, which is all refurb and ready to go back on. I ground all this down in a previous episode. And then me and my friend Bill Foley, we went to the junk and got a B20 and had that rebuilt. Here's the B20 non-VTEC out of a 2000 CRV that will be going into the car. Just a little power, just something a little fun. No loud exhaust or anything like that. Just a fun driver. So it's kind of just like a project that, I always wanted another CRX. I've had a lot of Civics and stuff like that. I only had one CRX. It was the homemade turbo single cam. It was a good time, but now they're getting rare, and when you find an SI and you have the ability to rebuild it, better do it. So this is going to be where it really counts. I've previously gotten, where did I get these rocker panels? Mill Supply, and they're for an 8891 Civic hatchback. So I previously set them up there and kind of pre-cut extra stuff I knew I wasn't going to use. But this is where it's going to make a difference, is getting these exactly where they should be so that the bodywork is easier, everything just comes out cleaner. We've hung these doors so that the gaps are what they'll need to be. We'll have to blow this thing apart many times, I'm sure. Up in here in this channel where it's previously rusty, I've got lots of epoxy primer in there after the sandblasting was done. So we're gonna set this on here, check our door gaps with the bottom here, and then we will pin it with the clecos and see what we've got. Man, it's already fitting good. This contour here does not seem, I mean, it comes out pretty far. It is not matching this panel. So what I'm gonna do is choppy, try to leave this contour alone and then patch things in with the repair panels from a hatchback. There's gonna be some minor stuff. I mean, you can see down here, CRX body goes in, this one does not. So it's just gonna be patchwork. I started with lining up this line and it looks like we're still pretty close. Down here did not match, and this is all pretty good car still. There's quite a bit of tension on there, and this body line right here does not exist in this panel. I could push that, but you know, ultimately we're gonna have to redo or make this line there. So I'm going to take a straight edge and cut that through and then form the panel to it. The missing portion of the panel is right behind there, so I may have to do some filler work. I'm not opposed to beating this into place, and you know, that's just something that's going to happen. The side skirt is not fitting exactly the way I want, which, you know, whatever. But that door line is going to be very critical once I get that in. I think the problem I'm having is that this really isn't secure. So I think I'm going to do the welding, the spot welding of the outer skin that they put on. They drilled the holes to kind of spot weld it and never finished it, so I'm going to do that and somehow secure this to more of its original position, and then give that side skirt another shot. But that is probably the most critical piece. The back piece, it's looking pretty good. It's all contoured. I mean, the clecos are holding it together, but there'll definitely be body work and pounding and stuff like that. The body line goes all the way through on that parts car rear quarter that I have. So I sliced that to kind of relieve it, and we can make that contour the way it's supposed to. It's just time. I feel like I'm there with this piece. So I'm gonna mark around it, pull the clecos off, and then cut it out and hope for good things, fitting it back in there. All right, there's the panel in. Just going through the process of putting little spot welds all around and moving so that things don't get too hot and warp. I've got to do that until all the welds are solid. Looks like I kind of coosed this body line here. That's not gonna work, but it is just metal. So once I get this whole panel in, then I can go back, chop, cut, rebuild. Left this line here to mimic that curve. That looked like that was a good idea. So I'll save that until all the welds are all the way around, and then I'll kind of hammer that and kind of mimic what it's supposed to be. And we're on our way to rust-free CRX. Okay, I thought about it. And I think, Joe Fisher, you were right. Because this panel, something is up with it. It definitely is not for this car. It's for the hatchback, just like it always was. Those are the panels that are available, as well as the side skirt. Let me show you what I'm talking about. This is an original CRX rear quarter, and it kind of looks like it kind of humps out and then gets to the fender. This one here, you can see the line, that line there, that was a different body line than the CRX had. It's just not there. On top of that, I've welded this panel in to the best of my ability, and we are sunken in on the weld line pretty bad. So this panel is sunken in. I'm trying to show by how much. It looks like, focus. It actually might have come out a little bit more since it's cooled down. That gap right there, oh, it's very hard to show, but you see the daylight, and that's not really that great. Putting this much work into this car, I was expecting that the panel would look more, I don't know, like that. Little skim of, light skim of filler, and voila, but that is not how this one's gonna go. I definitely do not want to just slather a bunch of filler onto it. I don't want to know that the car has that much filler. So I'm still looking at things that I might be able to do as far as maybe hammering out the metal or just shaping it better so that there's not so much filler involved. The other problem that I have on top of this Harbor Freight helmet that I've used for many years, but doesn't seem to be working that well, and I thought it wasn't charged. It's a solar deal, but the on-off tacks of these types of welds and my distrust in this helmet had me going, welding and not looking at it, looking away, and my eye over the last couple days has been kind of like retina burn. It feels like sand is in it, so don't do that. Gonna buy a different helmet before I start welding again. So knowing what we know about this fender and how it was for the hatchback, it doesn't fit as good as maybe some people online say, oh, it just needs a little bit of trimming. It's there, but it's not exactly good. The side skirt, although it does seem to fit really well in that position there, and the flange at the bottom is up against where the flange would normally be. This flange has not quite made it to here. And then the fact that you close the door, ooh, need some work on them hinges. And you can see how far that side skirt is sticking out past the door when this edge should be flat with that door level with it. So we have a problem there. I think I'm changing my approach from these are parts for the hatchback, but with just a little bit of trimming, they'll fit. I'm going with these replacement panels are not for this damn car. And so I'm going to have to probably cut this flange and the lower one so I can shorten the whole thing and bring it in more. I'm just gonna go off of the chop cut, make it what you need to make it approach, and then we'll see if things end up better. I've gotten the flanges cut off, the flange cut off of here and on the bottom side. So that's no longer making contact with this flange that this gets welded to. This is free and going in as far as possible. The next problem with this side skirt, I believe, is going to be the face right here. The face is what's currently preventing me from going in further. I haven't even checked the door, but I feel like it's going to look like that. On the CRX, that side skirt is flush with that door. And this is not flush with that door. This back quarter panel seems to have come out a little bit more since after welding it. It was really gap-tastic, and I was second guessing that. But I think I'll eventually figure out some way of just smoothing that out more before I fill it and all of that. This side skirt, on the other hand, is a big problem because I've chopped pretty much the majority of it out, and this front face is just not pushing this far enough in. That's not gonna work for me. I guess maybe I could try to find a CRX not around here in the Midwest that's gonna have these clean, that they're cut off, maybe somebody offers them. Or this is still the best thing I've got going for me right here. And it's fairly thin metal. And if I don't end up using it, then what does it matter if I destroy it? I think what I have to do, I'm forced to, is cut this here so that I eliminate this face. Now I can set this wherever I want, and I'll probably just have to piece things together. This contour isn't even close to the CRX, but I figured I could chop that off where I needed to. I might have to completely make this lower rocker, which is a pain in the ass. As you see over here on the driver's side, this is still the factory rocker. I only had to cut out the very bottom under here. So this one will be a lot easier, but you can see how the rocker is going to be flush with the door. And while the other side isn't really working out for me, I'm gonna have to slice that one down real good. I don't have the time to do that tonight. Plus, it's essential that I lay in bed and think about this all night, because I'll usually come up with a better solution. To this point, that's not that great, but it's workable, and I haven't destroyed anything yet. So we're still good at this point. Nothing's been destroyed, and this isn't going the way I thought it would. There is a plastic cover that covers all of this. I was thinking already, probably pull that cover down, place it on there, and then kind of set the rocker up against it. Might be a good guide. I don't know. Well, I had a couple days to think about it, and I know it needs to happen now. It's gonna be a lot of work, but this is one of the reasons why I always start with the hardest part or the worst part, because once I get this side done, by the time I get to the other side, I'll be a professional. And I got the next week off, so we better get this car done. Here's what I have so far is just the basis of what you'll see on the outside. Got it tack welded here and pinned there. So I'm gonna take this, and it's sticking out just about how the other side, which is still there. And then on the door gap, yeah, it's workable. There's a plastic cover that goes over that bottom rocker and the door, but I'm not good enough with knowing the plastic panel is going to cover it. I want to know that the car doesn't look like Merle Haggard's ass under there. I'm moving along on this new rocker panel. You can see I'm just piecing it together. It's not welded to the car yet. My plan is to make one continuous whole piece, get all the details. This is very thin metal, so I'm welding it together, and then I'll hammer it and get it to be hopefully one whole rocker, but I'm just kind of creating the piece at this point. I've gotten a little bit more done on the rocker, but it gets to a point here where the tools and everything are everywhere. You can't find a pen or a marker. And for me anyway, I just need to clean up. I need everything back in the toolbox, clean, and then I start fresh. And I think that the cleaner your workspace, which this is not right now, the cleaner your piece will be, or whatever you're working on. Just for me, that's what I find is the case. And so it gets to this point. This is pretty ugly right now. I'm just trying to get the shape and everything. We gotta get all the spot welds in and then ground down. Hopefully after it's all welded up, it will still fit. Before I took it off, I misted it with spray primer so that I can see where the edges of the new rocker panel will go. See right here. I'll cut this all out, and then hopefully that new piece will fit right in there. There's the patch that's going over the top, and then along the side. You see right here where my piece will come in, so I'll cut out the dark brown, and then I think that rocker will slide right in. On the bottom rail here, there's, it's somewhat there. So I'm gonna take the bottom rail that I cut off of the rocker panel and plug weld that to that, and then the rocker panel is pretty much the shape that I need. It is fairly ugly right now, and with all the spot welds on the two-piece area that I had to do, This piece is just going to be flimsy and hard to grind all that down. So we're going to take it to Jimmy's house. Hello, Jimmy. And Jimmy's dog. This is Jimmy. He's a professional welder. P-R-O, pro. And Jimmy's wife. Hello.
Hello.
I brought this gnarly looking thing over because he's gonna make it look fancy, right?
We hope so. Just gotta get everything plugged in.
It's all clean in here.
Yeah, it's just blowing right through.
Too thin.
Yeah. That and there's like a galvanized coating or something on there. That's where all that yellow soot's coming from.
Well, Jimmy gave it his best shot with the welder that he's got here at home. It's just not going to be cold enough, or what is it, like low enough voltage to...
Yeah, it won't go low enough, so it's just putting too much heat into the part and then it's just blowing through.
Yeah.
And then the coating isn't helping any.
So he's going to take that to work where they have a welder that gets a little bit lower and it won't burn through. I did get that rocker panel back from Jimmy, the TIG welder, and he hooked that up, made it whole again. It looks like everything's going to fit okay, and there might be a little bit more trimming before I really get this all blown in. But I want to do the best job I can, even though there's a plastic cover that covers the majority of this. I think the only thing you'll really see is the face that I'm going to weld right here, and then this cover. But, you know, when I get this car done and say it's really fancy and cool and I'm in love with it, I don't want to always think, well, if you just take off this plastic cover, there's some bullshit under there. Because that's not how I roll. So while this isn't professional, I'm doing the best I can. We'll see how it comes out. I started spot welding that rocker in, and I thought, well, I better go up to the CRX stash and grab one of those plastic covers. You can see it covers quite a bit. So this is a good thing. So there's, now I was able to get one of the original buttons in there, so the back's looking nice. However, it's kind of floating out that way. And I recognized another factory hole right there, but it won't go in any further, and it's because the rocker's just not good. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this door off. Whoa, don't fall, guy. I'm going to take this door off, and then I'll be able to kind of hammer in the rocker until I can get that plastic cover fitted in both of the factory holes. At that point, I should be in good shape to just finish weld all of this and, you know, grind it down, clean it up. Well, you made it to the end of the video, and that one was a grinder. That was about 3 weeks of just working, filming, forgetting where I had shown. So I was able last weekend to put the camera down, put my head down, and I just focused right on this rocker. So I was able to get this rocker done. I'm happy with it, and I needed this win. So you can see that the cover covers up the area there that you see. And I'll pull this rocker off, and you can see underneath here, we're looking pretty good. We got a little bit on the bottom there, but yeah, we're in good shape. I did get the driver's side quarter panel and rocker done. I didn't film that side because I knew this one was going to take a while, but underneath here we just had one little strip that I put in, and then I welded it, seam sealed it, so we'll prime and paint that. The back corner here, I still haven't figured out what I want to do just yet, but we're on to something good. So that'll do it for this video. I'm gonna pinch this one off and get back to work. I still have lots of work to do here. Appreciate you guys watching. I'm just some guy in the garage doing what I think is cool stuff, and I'm glad you guys are entertained by it. So hit the subscribe button if you like this channel. We're at 333 people that wanna watch this stuff. So until then, you know what we're gonna do. We're gonna cars 24/7.